Hello, hello. It is Monday night. We are doing a very special live stream for today, live at 5. If you are catching the replay, welcome. I'm so glad that you found the channel. Please share this information out with somebody else who may be able to use the information. Um, I'm going to have a special guest on with me today. A lot of you who are not new to the channel, you already know who she is. Our friend StarDuster2. She is a Floridian also. And so today we're going to be talking about hurricane preparedness. This is something that just we have to discuss it. Both of us living in Florida and generally the same area, just a couple of hours away from each other. Both of us are North Floridians, and so we wanted to come to you today and talk to you guys a little bit about our reality living in the state of Florida. And we want to just give you some information that I'm sure will benefit you. For those who are visiting here in the state of Florida, it'll benefit you. If you're here and you may be, stuck a little bit, you may not have a way to get out of here right now, or even if you live on the Gulf Coast, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Just life there, what life is like during hurricane season on the Gulf Coast. So I am going to not delay in bringing our friend Star up. She is already here and ready to go. So I'm going to bring her on in. Guys, let me know in the comment section that you can hear well, that everything is going well, um, and that you can see me well. Drop some nines in that chat if you can see me and you can hear well, if everything is okay on your end.
Those nines, y'all. Drop those nines. If you can hear me too.
Hey, I couldn't understand you. Are you still in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
You're still in the car. Oh my. Okay. Yeah, I was hearing some sound like some wind noise, but y'all drop some nines in the chat if everything is good on your end. Let us know. Let us know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I need to speak up, just let me know. I'll talk louder.
Okay. All right. Thank you, love. Thank you, love. How are you today?
I'm I'm well. No complaints except for the fact that I had to cut my vacation short for this.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
the road and get home, so but thanks for
Well,
having me.
tell the audience where you are, Star.
I am currently on the south side of Georgia, getting ready to cross over into Florida. I still probably have about 30 minutes to go, but
Okay.
I'm not too far from Valdosta.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. So you're pretty close to home now.
Yes, and I was coming from Cincinnati.
Coming from Cincinnati, and if you all didn't know that Star is, she grew up in the north, and so now she's a Florida girl. She's a Florida girl now. So we are collaborating here today because she has been in Florida for some time now, and she has had an opportunity to experience some of these hurricanes,
Yeah, Florida
some of these
vacation.
Florida weather.
Back in the early '90s, um, the hurricane that hit the Tampa Clearwater area, I was there for that. We really were blessed when that occurred. It didn't get hit as bad as it could have been. We did have a lot of down limbs and things like that, but for the most part, it was simple like that. And the electricity was only out for a little bit of time.
Okay.
I think that
You
it's
said
going to be out for a bit of time more this time.
yeah.
Repeat that, please.
You said the electricity was only out during that time for a little bit of time, but you think that this time maybe different.
Yes, I think this time is going to be worse. I also experienced Michael 4 years ago when we first moved back here. There's others that I've been through. I just can't recall the names right now.
Yeah.
But Michael, when we were here, Hurricane Michael, literally we were outside trying to hunker things down. And my son, we noticed that the back porch roof started rattling. As my son was reaching for it, literally his fingertips on it, it came right from under his hand and flew off. And that was our cue. Okay, get in the house. But I've always been the type that's had a generator. I had a gas generator that I brought down with me when I'm from Cincinnati. But since I've been here, I've also invested in a solar that puts out almost 2,000
Oh, that's
three
amazing.
panels.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, you do need a good little generator down here because so let's talk about that. Let's talk about let's tell the people about our definite need for a generator. Not just to mention, not that we have power outages periodically. I know when I was living in Tallahassee, we had we had plenty of power outages, right? Um,
Yes.
Sometimes even when something was going on, we had those power outages. And so for us, it did take, a hurricane. A lot of times when we were inside, we would hear, these pops and things that we weren't accustomed to hearing on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden, we had no lights, and it was like there was always something happening with our lights. And so I'm not sure if that was more like an infrastructure in that area issue, but we did have a number of things that would happen with our power when we were there. And so that kind of was one of the things to really prompt us to go ahead and get uh, the Jackery and the whatever that other thing that we got first. We have several different. We're not like stuck on name brands or anything like that, but we have several solar power packs to kind of help us out. As a matter of fact, as you can see, I'm not in my normal location today. I am at one of my sister's place, and so you know, it was like a shock to me because for the last few months, I have been without electricity and living off of generators. So we were used to generators by the time we got ready to live off grid. And so now it's just like it's a way of life for us to the point where my husband was like, you don't need all that. You don't need to take all that with you. You're going to actually have electric and you're going to actually have a strong internet connection and all of that stuff. And so I was just like, yeah, you're right. I guess you're right. But listen, the Jackery or either my other one is going to go with me regardless. It's
Yes.
going to go with me either way. And the Jackery is sitting right here on the floor. And I was like, well, I'm thinking to myself, well, what if they had an electric power surge here today? I'm on live with StarDuster2, okay? And so I could take the box, I could take the internet box, plug it into my Jackery, and guess what? We can keep right on pushing. We can keep right on pushing. So I absolutely love my solar power packs. And I don't go many places without them. I really don't. I really don't.
Yeah, I have two myself. I have a smaller portable one, which is kind of like the Jackery, and it
Mhm.
also has a foldable panel. I could like attach the panel to my bug out bag and walk with it, but I'd have to carry the actual.
Yeah, yeah. I put them in the shopping cart. Everything. Like when I tell you, when I go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, I put them in the shopping cart, and they go right along with me. I mean, nobody says anything. I don't think most people even know what they are, but nobody says anything. But I have them sitting in the shopping cart just like a little kid. Hey there, hey there. Hey, thank you everybody for coming in. Thank you so much. If you guys could share out the broadcast, we would greatly appreciate it because we're going to talk about some things today that really Starduster is driving Eco Neighbor. She's driving,
Yeah.
so she can't be focused on the camera right now. Um, she'll
That's
she'll
another reason my camera's off, you guys. Otherwise, you'd see my pretty face.
Yeah, she'll be driving. She's still driving, coming from Cincinnati. So, but yeah, we are. It's a way of life for us now, and so right now, since we actually have three generators at this point, and Eco Neighbor is going to tell y'all more about those. But we do have three generators at this point since we are living, off grid, and we just we found it to be easier for us, and then we're also working on some more solar panels and things that can really help us to not have to use generators all the time because those operate off of gas. The bigger ones that we have are gas powered, which I absolutely love. They're nice and strong. I don't have to worry about having 2 million solar panels to try to keep up with the amount of power that we have to use in order to power our RV. Now we're going to find ourselves in a better situation. I think gas wise, we'll find ourselves in a better situation once it gets cold because what we experienced the first time when it was, a little colder when we got into our RV. And so we had to run our little heater fan. And let me tell you, that little bitty heater fan, it was probably only about this big, but it heated up the entire RV to the point where I would have to get up at night and turn it down, like really adjust it. And so it was easier to heat than it is to cool it down because listen, when these 90 and 100-degree days start to hit,
Yeah.
like there's nothing like it inside that RV, and you would rather kind of be outside, under a tree or something, because it gets very, very, very intense. The heat gets intense. So I'm glad that you do have um, that sort of power, and that's something that if you can take, for the audience, if you can take and if you can't just go and buy one outright, buy a solar powered one or whatever, then it's definitely something that I would say to save for. And we kind of took the same route, when we had our first major hurricane that we had. I don't even remember which one it was. I don't remember, but I don't know, it's been probably 6, 7 years back when we had our first major hurricane being here in Florida after moving back to Florida. Um, it was, man, we were out for it was over a week that we were out of power. And so that time we lost all of our food
Wow.
um, because we were just out so long. Obviously the ice disappears extremely fast when
Hmm.
you're going through the recovery period after a hurricane. You can ride all over town. It doesn't matter. You're not about to find any ice because everybody has already gone and
Exactly.
gotten it, and they're gonna get it as fast as the trucks are able to replenish it. People are going to come and they're going to get that ice. So power is very, very important. If you can have a generator on hand, being if you're living, particularly if you're living in an area where you do have those frequent power outages, and if you're living in an area where you're on the coast and you know that you're going to have some sort of storms. Now we are over on we're on the west coast,
Hmm.
um, and so we have these Gulf waters. They're a whole different monster, aren't they, Star?
Yep.
The Gulf waters are a whole different monster because they are warm waters.
Yep.
And so what typically happens when the storms are coming around, and they're either going to go up that eastern seaboard or they're going to come over to the Gulf waters. And I'm not sure how they happen on the eastern seaboard so much, but when they come up this Gulf Coast, honey, those warm waters do a number on the strength, and they start to strengthen. And anybody living in Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, they'll tell you when those storms come out there on those Gulf waters and they start to pick up strength, like they get intense, they get really intense. And that is what is happening right now with this storm that we're experiencing. And so it looks like the models are projecting that there's a couple of possibilities. One of the possibilities that I have been continuously seeing is that it may hit around the Tampa Bay area. And then the other one is that it may hit a little bit further westward, which is coming directly for us. Okay. So if they go a little bit further westward, then we're going to get a good bit of this. But if you've seen this storm, if you've seen the latest models on this storm, it is huge. It's humongous. And so they're telling us like this is probably going to be category 3 or above storm. And I think they're really hesitant to say that it may be a category 4 storm, but I have heard more than 3 or 4 different newscasters and looking at their different models of what they predict may happen. What have you been seeing, Star? I know you've been driving a lot, but what did you see when your mom told you about it?
I have been getting the updates where they are now starting to call for evacuations. Zone A, B, C. I've been trying to find out where exactly A, B, and C zones are. However, like when I'm Googling it, or my son talking, whatever, when I'm saying what is the evacuation,
You're breaking up a little bit on my end, Star.
A, B, or C.
Okay, I'm going to just
Gigi. I need you
continue.
to repeat that.
I was saying that you were breaking up a little bit, but you were saying something about mice, and I heard that part.
Something about evacuation and how what locations are A, B, and C. When I myself, it's only linking me to USDA grow zone information websites. What we're trying to do is let the people know they're in zone A, B, or C. I also received a phone call within the last hour from, I believe, the Florida emergency office, and they were saying that they're giving out sandbags right now. You can go and fill them yourself. You can fill them yourself. They're giving you the locations where you can do that, and this is Taylor County that I'm referring to. So they're also saying that there are no road closures or evacuations where we live as of right now. However, I'm still getting up through, and I definitely think that people need to be thinking about the road closures because it's going to get congested. And if you're in the north part of Florida, I think that it's better to just be safe than sorry and just go ahead and leave.
And you know what? And I agree with you because what's going to happen is that you're going to have everybody at one time trying to get out of that area. Now, like the Miami people, they die hard, they ride hard, they ride these storms out, a lot of them. I'm not sure if they'll be able to ride this one out. But even through them asking for mandatory evacuations, a lot of people will still decide that, hey, we've been doing this forever. Um, and then a lot of them, they survived Hurricane Andrew, which was, category 5, something like that, storm. And my husband's father and his family actually survived Andrew. And let me tell you, it was catastrophic. It was a mess. And so those storms are extremely, extremely strong. When they have their house torn up, and their houses are built, all brick, like ready for the hurricanes, and they got torn down to just a small room that they were in. So you can imagine the power of these hurricanes once they hit category 4 or category 5. If they can take down those houses that were literally built to withstand hurricane strength winds, then you definitely don't want to play with this thing, particularly if you're like us and you are RVing, if you're in a mobile home, you definitely want to make sure that you are like making some plans. And you know what? The best case scenario is, hold on. Let me hold that thought real quick. Maccabee OG, my Tallahassee fam, how you doing? He said, I lived in Miami during Andrew. We had to be airlifted off of a roof from the Red Cross.
Oh
So,
my God.
yeah,
Oh
that's
my
the
God.
type of destruction that Hurricane Andrew caused when it came through down there. So when you talk about a storm of that magnitude, if you are in, like we live in the RV full time, we are taking no chances. We aren't even taking any chances with a category 1
No,
hurricane in the RV. Like
no.
we are taking no chances. And some people stay. Some people stay there and they've been
I want to
doing it.
stress that. I want to stress that. People are so used to, oh, I've survived this. I've survived this. We've made it through that. I understand. Yes, we are very blessed to still be here. But we need to get out of that mentality and be
Yeah.
smarter and be proactive. If you
Hmm.
can be proactive instead of reactive,
Hmm.
that's the
Hmm.
whole purpose of this in the first place, and why we're trying to stress to people how important it is to be prepared.
Yeah.
Because
And then you
because
have a hurricane. Sorry, Star, I was interrupting. Sorry.
I apologize too. I was saying some people are still going to have to pack up everything. We just happen to be the type who are already on this stuff, especially living in Florida. Um, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go because I don't want to talk too much, but I really do feel like this is gonna be Florida's Katrina. I'm not trying to wish that on my state. I'm praying for everything to be okay, but just something within me. Like I left Cincinnati, it didn't matter. I didn't care what the category was. As soon as my mom said, "Oh, I'm sorry to tell you, but there's a hurricane coming," and she just is calm, cool, and collected. And that's another thing too with her right now. As I'm trying to tell her, please get this together, please get that together. As I'm on my way down there, she's like, "Well, they're not saying it's gonna come here." I don't care. The entire state of Florida is covered by this thing, and where we live is literally where the eye is coming
And see, that's what I was saying. I was looking at the size of this storm, and I'm like, whoa. Like this storm is humongous. It was,
from.
the last few models that I saw, it was covering the entire state. And even when it makes landfall, if it does make landfall and it goes up through Georgia way, they're going to get a lot of it too.
Mm-hmm.
So all that I really saw that it was missing um, was like Mississippi, Louisiana, even parts of Alabama. They're saying, I heard, Ryan Hall, y'all. It's Ryan Hall, y'all. Um, he was talking about, worst case, best case, and then what his opinion was on the models that he had been seeing. And he was saying, between he somewhere between Tampa and Panama City. I think that was Ryan Hall that said that. Somewhere between Tampa and Panama City. So, that's a big area, but definitely the panhandle of Florida is going to be affected. Well, it's going to be affected one way or another because of the sheer size of this storm. So we were kind of just focused on, we aren't going to, even if, all right, the cold air coming down from Canada were to interact with the warmness of the Gulf water, which would make the storm, dissipate. It'll make it dissipate. If that cold air got further down here, it would make the storm dissipate.
See, I always thought
Even
that was what you
if,
call an occluded front.
say it
My
again.
bad. I thought that was what you called an occluded. I thought that was what you called an occluded front, and I thought they could cause storms too. My apologies. Let me shut up and listen.
No, it could. And listen, I didn't know a lot of this either. I just knew that when the storm hits the Gulf waters, that it always strengthens. It always strengthens. Like, I don't ever remember a time where I was watching one where it did not strengthen when it hit the Gulf water. However, when we do have the cold air that's coming down, then it will weaken the storm or it'll make it dissipate altogether. I don't think that's the likeliest scenario, that it'll dissipate altogether. I think that storm is coming, and I think it's coming here.
So I'm praying for that. I do too. I do too.
Yeah, I think that storm is coming this time, and I think we're going to feel it. And as a matter of fact, Tallahassee area has been getting away. We've been getting away for the last few years. We've been really getting away from the hurricanes. And I just feel like at some point, like, we gonna get it again. We're really going to get it again in this area. And so he and Ryan Hall felt the same way. Like, this thing, I think he thinks that this thing is probably going to be bad as well. Even if it drops to a category 3, I'm not sure if it's made it to category 4 strength just yet. I'm not sure that it's like high enough in the Gulf that it's made it to a 4 just yet, because we're projecting that at the end of the week that it may be coming here. So maybe like Thursday, Friday, just depending on how fast it's moving. But another thing that I heard them also say, which like sent chills through me, he said the storm, at the speed that it was moving kind of slow, and it's going to sit there once it makes landfall.
Yes.
It's going to sit there for like 2 days.
Yes.
That scared me because I was like, ooh, that means flooding, severe flooding, right? That means severe flooding is going to happen if this storm with this size that's covering the entire state, if this storm just sits there like that. It's going to be bad for us. It's going to be a whole heck of a lot of rain, and we're going to be in trouble. And this is typically when people start to lose their life, when the storms are just sitting there and they're making these waters rise, they're making dams break, they're making levees break, they're doing that type of thing, right? And so that part to me is really, really scary. And on top of that, if they start to spawn off tornadoes, that scares me even more than a hurricane, because it's like with the hurricane, yeah, you're going to get the strong winds. Yeah, you're going to get that. But them doggone tornadoes, they will plop here and then they'll plop there. And then, they will they just wreak havoc. They wreak havoc. But in a very, very quick and short period of time, they wreak havoc. But if that storm sits over this state for 2 days, that's not going to be a good thing. It's not going to be a good thing. And that storm is huge. It's humongous. So um, let
It
me.
really is. It's the entire state, you all. I've been trying to call other family members that are a little bit further south, but my day has been kind of preoccupied. And some of them have not picked up the phone, but I don't want them to think that, oh, just because I'm inland, I'm not going to be affected.
Mhm,
Can you
mhm.
imagine the trees that are going to be coming down? For me,
Whew.
it's trees. It's when the trees start hitting the ground, that can block your roadways, that can block your highways, that can mean you can't get the emergency people through to you until you get a crew who can come and chop the tree up. You have to think about that. Do you have power tools? Do you have power tools?
Mhm.
I'm not even thinking about that. I'm like, shit, oh, excuse my language, I'm sorry. I'm like, I gotta get my tools. And now
We
that's one
all grown.
had packed up. Okay. My,
We all grown here. We heard it before. And
I
that
had
was
to
one of
remember
the
I'm not on my phone.
it's all good. It's all good. But that was one of the things that was on my list, Star, is, when we think about hurricane preparedness, do we think about after the storm as well? We often think about, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to stay safe within this storm? What do I need? I need my water. I need to fill my tubs. I need, if I have a swimming pool, I'm gonna use that water. If I have a lake nearby, I can use that. Listen, I may have to fight a couple of gators, but I may have to get some water out of there. You know, if you have a well, you're in a good position. If a tree doesn't fall on that bad boy, you know what I mean?
But
So this
your
is why you have to be ahead of the game. You have to be prepared ahead of time. Go ahead and use that well. If you have a well, go ahead and get all the empty bottles that you can
yeah,
find, and you
no,
fill all of those bottles and try to put them somewhere where you can get to them, even if you have to bury those bad boys temporarily or whatever, put them in a place where you could get to them. And let me say, I'm going to let you continue, but let me say this. I'm glad that you brought up the point about um, having tools to get back to your home, because that was one of the things that was on my list to talk about. So if after the storm, the coast is clear, they've moved the power lines out of your way. If you still have above ground power lines, they've moved that stuff out of the way. But there are so many things happening that the crews have not made it to your street to cut the trees, right? What are you going to do? How are you going to get back to your property? So, do you have anything? Do you have, some axes? Do you have a power saw or two that you can take with you that could potentially help you to get back to your property? Like, those are other things that we have to consider, because we do have big trees around here. Like, we have a lot of tall trees. I don't understand why they don't plant more palm trees, because the likelihood of them falling is, slim compared to all these doggone pine trees and the oak trees. Um, and so when all of that water is falling and the trees are soaking up so much water, you have whole trees going down, coming out of the ground, because the ground is so saturated. And the top weight from those trees are making the entire tree fall. If you've ever heard trees cracking and coming down because of the sheer weight of the amount of water that has fallen on those trees and saturated those trees over a period of 2 days or 3 days. Those are some of the scariest sounds. Like, other than a tornado, those are some of the scariest sounds that, I've experienced so far in my life, I would say. What about you, Star?
I did not hear the question because I'm right at the border of Georgia and Florida, and I lost you.
No, it's
Can
okay.
you
I
ask
was
me
I
to
was
repeat it?
talking. I'll tell you what I was talking about. So I was asking about, the scary sounds when when the water has saturated those trees, and then you hear the limbs breaking, or you hear a tree just falling because the ground
Oh
is so
yeah.
saturated.
Oh yes. That all of that. That is so scary. The whooshing of
It
water,
is.
just a flash flood. That is so scary. When you hear
Mhm.
the animals crying, you know what I'm saying? Even stuff as simple as that. And that's another thing too. Please pay attention to the animals. If the animals is getting up through, you might want to get up through too. I'm just saying. But yes, all
Yeah.
of that is scary. You know what I mean? Like, and then I don't know how to describe that. I've heard a tree fall in my yard, and it wasn't even because of that, and that alone scared me. And then where I live, there's trees all around me, and then I have those tall pine trees that people use for, collecting and stuff. That they people make money off of those. Those things scare me
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
they're really
Hmm.
tall, they're really skinny, and I feel like as soon as that wind comes, it can snap.
And that's right.
And I
And
also
that's
have
right.
pecan. Yeah, and I do have a big oak tree too.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
see, on
But you wanted to
our property, I'm sorry, go ahead. We got a little bit of a delay, so I'll just stop if you start talking. Go ahead.
okay, my apologies. Oh, I wanted
Hold on, hold on. Start over.
well.
You were breaking up. Okay, we lost you for a second, Star. Um, Hey y'all in the chat. Okay, Starduster is on the road. She is traveling from Cincinnati, headed back to her Florida location so that she can pick up her mother, who is, at her Florida home. And so she is having some sound challenges periodically when you're driving. You know how it is. You can't really determine how well the internet is in certain areas. So I'm going to go on and start just pop in whenever you can. So let's talk a little bit about. So we talked about, if you have a well, go ahead and use that well. Determine the things that you're going to need. We talked also about when you want to get back to your property, like how easy would that be for you to put in the back of your car, put in a, see, she disappeared, so we'll just chop it up. Hey everybody, welcome, thank you all for being here, I appreciate it. I'm going to let her back in when she pops back up. But so let's see. Okay, I think she's back now. I think she's back. I can hear some sounds again. But when we were just talking about when you go out and you are headed back to your property, say you evacuate, you're headed back to your property, how are you going to get back if you encounter trees and things? Do you have anything that you could take with you that you could pop in your trunk, um, that can help you to cut up some things? We had to cut up some things before. We couldn't handle the really big trees, but we could handle some of the some of the smaller branches and things. So if you have a saw, it could be an electric saw. If you had a chainsaw, small chainsaw, battery powered, or anything like that that you could use to help yourself get back to your property, some of those things would be ideal to pop into, your trunk as well. It may be really beneficial to help you in getting back to your property so that you can assess the damage and start to do cleanup, because cleanup is a huge part of when any storm comes through. And Star, you there? That's one
Yeah.
of the things I was about to tell you about, is the property that we bought. It actually was one that got hit hard by Hurricane Michael. And so when in the early days when we were going through the property, you all may have seen a lot of down trees. Well, all of those down trees, they came from the Hurricane Michael coming through years ago. And nobody had been onto the property to do anything, to really to do any type of cleanup on that property. So we inherited that. Uh,
Yeah.
the nice thing about it though is that we have a lot of wood chips.
I was gonna say there's some benefits to that, okay? That's good gardening meat right there, honey.
Yeah, we don't really have to buy any wood chips. I was telling one of my sisters today, because she picked up some things for me from Lowe's today, and I was like, yeah, I was like, I don't want none of that wood chips. I don't want none of them. I got plenty of wood chips out here. I never have to buy another wood chip, I don't believe. So that's important. And then Maccabee OG, who is out of Tallahassee, was saying that they had to be rescued off of the roof back in Miami when he lived in Miami. And so one of the things that Eco Neighbor said to me, but that would be really good to have, is a flare gun.
Yeah.
When we are like, we in the country, honey, we in the country.
A flare gun, and also the things you wear, life vests.
Yeah, yeah. Now you don't want to be out in those Florida waters, because you out there, and guess who else is out there?
You got water moccasins, you got snakes, you got bull sharks, you got I know what she's talking about, alligators and
etc.
okay. Look, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna be stuck on a roof somewhere, you might want a life jacket if you ain't got no boat or something like that. Just because you ain't got no boat don't mean you ain't got no them. I didn't get that out. Don't mean you have to have no life jacket. At least get your life jacket if you can't afford
That's correct. That is correct. That is correct. Because if you find yourself, in the water against your will, because guess what? A lot of us, our houses aren't built on stilts. Like in some parts, our houses aren't built on stilts.
That's
And
right.
guess what? If for some reason our area floods, then you have to be up on top of your roof. Guess what? That water can come up that high, especially when you have a storm that is just sitting. You have all of these levees that are breaking. You have dams that, they are overflowing. And then some of them that they have to let water through so that they don't destroy the dam in itself. So there's so many different things that have to be considered, when you're going through this type of thing. But yeah, you don't want to put yourself willingly in the water. So something like a flare gun would really be great. It would be a great addition to have, to your survival pack when you're looking at this. What else, Star?
I'm just oh, okay. What I don't know if you heard me earlier. What I was saying about the wells. If you lose your electricity, fill up your tubs. But if you lose your electricity, you can't access your well unless you have a hand pump installed. I want people to really understand that. If your power goes out, your power is out. And that's anything that's connected to any type of power.
And then guess what? And guess what? Our well right now is running off of a generator.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is one reason why, I said we have three generators. We
Okay.
have three of them because we have one that is specifically dedicated to the well. It's specifically dedicated to the well.
Yeah.
I would love to have to like switch them around and have that one dedicated, but we paid good money to put that well in, and we want to make sure that that well is adequately powered.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I feel really good about is that as long as it does not get destroyed, as long as the well doesn't get destroyed in the weather, by a tree or something like that, then we can still go back. We can hook that generator right on back up. We talk to the people. My husband and this well installer talk for hours. They seem like they just talk for hours. And my husband asked so many questions to this guy, and he was able to get him to actually give us more line. So that because my husband has a background in electronics, that was like what he was in school for when he first graduated high school was electronics, and so he still knows how to do a lot of that stuff. And so he left us the line where my husband could then take that line that was running to power the well, and then he was able to put a 30 amp connector on there, and that 30 amp connector can run both our RV and it can run our well. So that's why, I'm just adamant that we just had to have more than one generator, because you can have, if you put in that brand new well and then you try to use a generator that is not going to be powerful enough, then you end up burning up your motor in the well, right? So that's going to cost you more money
Uh-huh.
than just getting something adequate to power it in the first place.
Now,
So,
for your gas, because
sorry.
is this a gas powered generator you're referring to?
Yes, for now. For
And
now.
how do you store your gas?
How do we store the gas?
Yeah, because there's always a chance that with the hurricane, if things happen, we can't access gas. How do you store your gas?
Yeah, so right now we just have cans. I don't recommend that for long-term storage, but we also don't have long-term storage with our gas. We're constantly replenishing. We replenish our gas a lot. And then we turn our generators on every day, at least two of them. We turn them on every day. The third one, we'll run it just for the sake of running it, just so that we can keep the gas flowing through it. Like, because if you sit this stuff for a long time, it'll turn to sludge on you. It'll mess up your engine. So you have to think about the maintenance on them. You have to think about the oil changes. You have to change, the oil out. You have to add more oil, especially when you run them as much as we have to run them in the hot weather. So yeah, gas is something to think about. And that is also why, Star, we are working on getting solar powered, some of everything solar
Yeah.
powered. And eventually our goal is that we're going to be running our well totally off of solar power. And that's something that Eco Neighbor is working on right now, is getting an inverter that's going to be powerful enough that we can sit it there and we can just have it powered by solar panels, and the inverter would be powerful enough to just keep the well going without us having to use the generator. So that's one of the things that we're working on now. And then we'll be able to like semi-retire one of our generators.
I know
um,
that.
just put it up for a rainy day. But the great part about it is the only time that we really even we may turn the generator on twice a day, and that's because we're watering. So if we want a stronger, more consistent stream of water, then we definitely want to operate the generator, and we want to, let it be pushing water out while that generator is running. It'll do that, and that's great, and it also makes for better showers as well. Even though we have a self-contained RV, and we are putting water in the RV and then mostly just using that until it's time to refill it again. But the system, like, it works. The system definitely works. And so I highly, highly recommend, if you don't have any solar power packs, it's cheaper to get you a more powerful generator. But now you're going to have to run gas. You're going to have to buy gas. And then depending on the size generator that you get, and they vary greatly depending on the size that you get and how often you need to use it, what you need to use it for, then, you can determine, like, where you're going to put it. If you're going to put it on a well like we did, or if you're just going to use it to run your microwave. When I iron my husband's suits and things, I have to operate one of the generators, because you don't even realize, guys, how much energy an iron pulls.
Mhm.
It pulls a lot of energy, and I did not know that. So I'm looking at things totally different for when we go back into a house, when we go to our mom's houses and we have to iron there and stuff. And I'm like, oop, unplug that thing. As soon as you use that bad boy, make sure you unplug that thing, because that thing uses a lot of energy.
I'm like that. I unplug stuff when it's not in use. The mic,
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying? The washing machine. I don't got time for that. I'm plugging stuff that ain't in use. And it really
Yeah.
makes a significant difference in your field. But I want to add on to what we're discussing now, and I want to, because you and I both. My apologies. We're homesteaders, and we have Lord have mercy, chickens. We have poultry. What do you suggest people do with their livestock as far as hurricane preparedness goes? Like, I'm considering letting my chickens out of the chicken run, and just praying they'll be there when we get back.
And one thing that I've learned about the chickens is that they never stray too far. There's one in every family. It's one in every family. So that little bitty hen of mine, Lord, she will go off. She is a wanderer. And if I let her out, she will go off. She will wander off in the woods, and she'll just skedaddle all over the place, and she is in a different world while everybody else is kind of hanging in the same area. Everybody else is chilling together except this one little wanderer. And I'm like, you will be the one to get eaten, because you won't stay with the pack. But in general, they do stick together, and they know where home is. And so if you do let them out, they know where home is. If home is still standing, they'll probably make their way back to home.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want them to be protected. That's the whole reason why. I feel like if I left them in the run and in the coop, I'm doing them more harm than good.
And you know what else? And they know how to hide.
Yeah, their instincts are gonna kick in,
They know how to hide. That's one thing that I learned about them early, when they were little bitty. They were like this big. And my daughter took them outside, and when those baby chicks heard the neighbor's dog next door barking, because this was before we moved out of our home. They heard the neighbor's dog bark. They start going under bushes and all types of stuff. And One of them was down there with her head stuck, her butt was sticking out, but her head was stuck up under the bushes and she was hiding. And I'm like, oh, so you know how to hide already. So they know how to hide. They will go, if they can get up under the house or get up under a deck or any of that stuff, they will. They'll
Yeah.
do it. They'll do it. So I think a lot of them. I don't know a lot about a lot of the livestock because obviously we don't have any at this point. Um, but I believe that they will be a. I think their survival instincts, are probably pretty good, and they know
Yeah, because
how to
I'm taking
hide.
my dog and I'm taking my pets.
Take the dogs. Take the dogs. If you have dogs and cats and you can get them and put them in a pen and pop them in the back of your vehicle and take them with you, take them babies with you. I mean, that's what we would do. Just like before when we evacuated for a hurricane before, honey, we put Bella in a pen and we put her in the back of the car, and then she laid down and we took that drive to Georgia, and she had fun, meeting new people and in the family and running around and getting all the love and all the pets. But yeah, take your dogs. If you can take your dogs and your cat, put them in a kennel, a small kennel or something, and take them with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I take them. But if you have bigger livestock and you have somewhere that you can afford to, just like put them, if they have storage, if somebody has extra storage, if farms take in animals, for those bad weather conditions, then, check with them and see
Yeah.
if perhaps, you can like pay for a few days of hotel stay, for those animals. And then otherwise, like the really big animals, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you on that. Um, like there's only so much that you can do. And at the end of the day, human life is what we have to try to preserve first and foremost,
Yeah.
because we can get more animals, but we can't get more of each other. Like once we're gone,
Yeah. Your
once
loved
we're
ones
gone,
gone.
we're gone.
Listen, Gigi, I'm in Florida and I'm in the backwoods country, babe. So
Okay,
it's gonna be dropping me.
that's all right. That's all right. All right. If you get in a spot and I'm still on here, Star, feel free to come back. Okay.
Okay, sweetie, I'm about a half hour, I think, from the house, so I should
Okay.
still on.
All right.
All right, sweetie.
All right. All right, guys. So let's talk about a couple of other things before I get out of here. So one of the really big things when you have evacuations is that you're going to have gas. Now, typically, what we do is that we get out and get gas when we hear the storms are coming. We'll go ahead and we'll fill up all of the vehicles. Um, if there's nobody around, to drive our extra vehicle, we'll still fill it up and we'll leave it there just in case we need to use that gas. Like if we go and we come back and we run out of gas, there is no more gas in the stores, the trucks are days out, they can't get to us at the moment. We go ahead, we have already filled up those vehicles and we can use the gas in the leftover vehicle in order to give us what we need in order to power our generators and to take us through, the next week or whatever we need the gas for. All right. And so I highly recommend it if you can afford to fill up your cars, like fill up your main car, the car that you're going to be driving, like go ahead, bite the bullet and fill up that car. Um, But if you can fill up your extra vehicle as well, you're going to need that gas at some point after something like a hurricane happens. We found that we always ran out of gas, and so that's why we started to fill up the extra vehicle as well. And that way, if you have a little kit, if you have one of the little special kits, or if you know how to do it the old school way where you cut that water hose and you know what, yeah, you can do that. You can still do that, and you can have gas at your disposal from your extra vehicle. So that's always something to think about, because once them gas lines start to get, and you sitting in that gas line for an hour, 2 hours, tempers start to flare. They start to flare really, really badly. And you don't want to be where, especially, if you're in a place where people are like, they have that wild, wild west mentality anyway. You don't want to be in those places, and then you don't have your gas, and then people are literally at the pumps, like trying to come to blows or pulling out weapons or all types of stuff. And some people they wait on that type of thing to happen so that they can do some old craziness. So it's better to be prepared. Go ahead a couple of days ahead and get your gas. Make sure that your vehicles are more on the full side and let them stay on the full side, rather than to get into a position where now you've got to be around all of these people. You got to be involved in like the madness of it all. You definitely don't want to do that. Another thing that we learned is that before these hurricanes become hurricanes, you have to already have your insurance information laid out. You got to already have your policies in place. So if a hurricane is out there, you can no longer get a flood policy. You can no longer get wind coverage. In the state of Florida, I can just talk about the state of Florida. You can no longer get that stuff once the storm has already been named. You can't get it. So make sure it's something like if you don't have it already, when hurricane season first starts to come, make sure that you got some of that stuff already in place, because you just don't know. It's better, to pay that little money. Even with renters insurance, the landlords are not responsible for your stuff on the inside of your property. They're only responsible for their property. They're not responsible for your stuff. So get you some renters insurance. The last time we bought renters insurance, I think it was maybe $18 to $20 per month, which wasn't bad, because you can get like I can't even say the number, because everything has changed so much, since the last time we had to do that. Everything has changed so much. So I can't even say, what the numbers might look like for you. It's best to call somebody to see what the numbers are right now. And so get your insurances in place. Remember, guys, that the policies, the water damage policies are different. The flood policies are different, and they're not covered under your standard home insurance policies. Also, you need to ask if you're going to get a renter's policy. Like, does that include water damage to my stuff? Does that include if this property gets flooded and it damages all my stuff? Ask the questions. Ask them ahead of time. Like, do your due diligence, do your preparation ahead of time, so that you're not caught off guard. And then G Mama says renters insurance can be combined with car insurance. Yes, we had one of our policies through our car insurance company, and then another one we had through somebody else. But there are several people who actually offer the renters policies as well. So and they're pretty easy to find online. So that's something to definitely do some research on. And definitely don't forget that, because that's really important. You don't want to be at the point where you don't have adequate insurance or where you don't have any insurance to cover your stuff in the case of something catastrophic like this, because you're already trying to find somewhere new to live. It's just too much to go through. You definitely want to have those policies in places so that they can help you to restore some of the things that you need. If you bundle the renters with auto, you can get a price break too. See there? People in here already know about it. Already know about it. Let's talk about, so a lot of people, what we see, this is from what we see, what we witness. A lot of people don't even perish during the storm, right? Not the hurricane. A lot of people will perish after the hurricane is over because they start to venture out. They start to go out too early. A lot of power lines are down, and then you're having people getting electrocuted. You're having trees that are still falling. You're having people that are walking around, trying to see things, trying to survey the damage, trying to be the first to put it on Facebook. Make sure that you are getting those policies. Is there a difference between flood insurance and rising water insurance? I don't know. That sounds like the same thing to me, but that would definitely be a good question for any insurance agents that are in the house today. Sounds like the same thing with me, but I've learned that with insurance, things can sound exactly the same and be something totally different. So yeah, that would be a really good question for an insurance agent. So yeah, do that stuff ahead of the storms, and make sure that you stay inside after the storm is over. At least until you hear the crews that are start to move out of your area, right? Because people go through, and then these trees are so heavy with weight. These trees are so heavy with weight, they start to fall, limbs start to break. People are out, they're getting crushed. All types of stuff is happening. And then in Florida, you got gators that are roaming around. You got snakes that are roaming around. We have a lot of copperheads here in the state. And so people are having like a lot of stuff happening to them. They would have been fine if they would have just stayed at home. So consider that before you start just running out, into the streets after the storm is over. Beforehand, what are some of the things that we can do? We can pick up. This is one of the things that we were doing this morning. We were going around and we were picking up any of the loose objects that are around. Even though now, we got 20 acres out there. How far a projectile is going to go, because we ain't going to be there, all right? We're not going to be there. We're going to take our RV and we're going to get out of there. And then we don't have any neighbors that are right there together, right? So we don't have to worry so much about it. But out of habit, over the years, we've made a habit of going around our yard, and we've taken all of the pots, anything that's in a pot, and we'll put it right up against the house. All of your tools, all of your shovels, limbs that are down, any type of debris, even small things like a spade can be a deadly projectile object. It could be like a missile coming at you when that wind starts to get things and pick things up and throw things. So people have said to have an axe in the attic in case you have to cut your way. Oh yeah, that is smart. That's really, really smart. That's a great, great idea. So if you are not evacuating when you have been told to, and / or you venture out before the all clear, be sure to write your name and who you belong to on your arm if you are a loaner. Yes. Yeah. And they actually tell your social security number that you may be identified. And that's what I saw a lot in Hurricane Katrina. A lot of people, were writing their names on themselves, writing their socials on themselves so that they could be identified, once they were found. And I think further south as well, people were doing that when the storms would come through. The storms get pretty powerful. So that's a really good point. Thank you for that, Homestead in the Hood. Um, so let's see. We talked about the well. We talked about ways people die. We talked about the policies. So what if absolutely nothing happens, right? What if nothing happens? What if this storm, clashes with this cold weather coming from Canada, and the storm diminishes to back to a tropical storm, for example? What if that happens? That would be great, right? That would be great. I know it would be great for me if that were the scenario. That would be really great for me. So, but what if it doesn't? Some people are like, you are scaring people with this. No, that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to scare people. We're saying don't be scared, be prepared. Hashtag don't be scared, be prepared. Make sure that you have what you need in order to go through the storm, because what if you make it? What if you make it? What if you actually make it to the other side of the storm? And that's what we're all. That's the reason for preparation, is because we're planning to survive and not leave here. So, what if you make it? That would be fantastic too. But once you make it, then the hard work starts. That's when the work really starts. And that's when you really got to make sure that you have some things around your property. Like I said earlier, even if you have to like shallowly bury some water or whatever, just to be sure that if anything else got damaged, that you would still be able to have some water somewhere out there. If you if you ran out of gas, we talked about having that extra in your vehicle and making sure that you can have access to some gas if you have a generator. And then, with solar power, we also have to consider, like, sometimes the sun is not going to be shining as bright as we want it to, or as bright as the solar panel needs to, just depending on what level solar panel that you have, right? We just need to think of like a range of things, think of a variety of things. An inflatable mattress can be used as a flotation device. And yeah, those little $1.25 tree store flotation things that we would get for our kids, put them on their wrists, put them on their arms. Like, they have some bigger ones for our arms too, like put that thing around your waist or whatever. And like I said, in Florida now, you don't want to stay out of the water if you can, because we have all of that stuff. We have a lot of things. You have to stay out of that water if at all possible, and try to signal for some help in some sort of way if you ever get to the point where you're just stuck up on your roof. Duct tape. That was one of the things that Eco Neighbor and we tried to keep around, and that we were talking about again today. Some duct tape, like you can write out words with duct tapes that can be seen from aircrafts from above. You can If you need to seal windows, cracks from critters, like duct tape is a good option. It can be used in so many different ways. If you get hit by something, if you get scratched by something, if you get cut, and you can't get out, but you need wound healing, you need something to keep you from bleeding out, etc., then you can temporarily put some duct tape on that bad boy and keep your meat together. So you have to think outside the box a little bit and try to come up with a lot of things that can be possibilities. And we don't want these things to happen, but listen, this is real life, and this is what we are facing. You don't ever know when you're going to be the one to get hurt. Let's see. Yeah, never depend on your community water. StarDuster was saying this when she was on there, because if your power goes out, you don't have water and you don't have clean water on top of that. Make sure you have your first aid kit on hand. If at all possible, if you can have multiple first aid kits, have one on your property somewhere. You can have one in each vehicle. If you can do that, that would be great. Some of the first aid kits are very, very inexpensive, and you can have the basic things in there. And so highly, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Let's see what else. Yeah. So I think we pretty much talked about everything. Let me go to some of you all's comments and see what else you all are offering. I know you always have something wonderful. Y'all always. Look at that. My Renaissance grandma. Hey, my Renaissance grandma said sidewalk chalk is good for writing SOS. Now, who thought about that? My Renaissance grandma did. Thank you, my Renaissance grandma. That's amazing. That is a really, really good one. Really good one. Sidewalk chalk. Hey, Growing with Hudson. How you doing? Hello, October Opal. How are you doing today? Anne's in the Dirt. How you doing? TLC in the Garden. How you doing? Sapphire Diamonds and Pearls, Miss Linda. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Carbon Q, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, moderator extraordinaire, UNG Mama. Thank you so much. Let's see, what else? What else y'all got? Drop them in the chat. If I didn't see it or I didn't say it, drop it in the chat and let's talk about it. TLC in the Garden, better be prepared and not need it, rather than need it and not have it. That part right there. Hey, Audrey's Living Life. How are you? You are blessed as well, sister. Hello, Black Haven. How you doing? Hello, Cheryl Faulkner. How you doing today? Bouger Prepper. How you doing, sister? GT Junior grows it. Hello, how are you? How are you? Let's see. So let me get back. I'm just scrolling up to try to see some of your comments. People have said, okay, I saw that one, to have an axe. That was a really, really good point. Let's see. Saying hello. Yes, thank you. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button and share the video out. J3GS Farm. Hello, how you doing? My goats better get in that barn and sit down. Tell her, sit down somewhere. Get in that barn. Sit down somewhere. Yeah, they smart. These animals are so smart. I promise you they are. And they know how to go hide somewhere. They really do know how to go hide. Neighboring teams. That was really good. You made me think of something else with that homestead in the hood. Also, if you can get with some neighbors and get those neighbors' telephone numbers before you leave, before you evacuate, get those neighbors' telephone numbers so that you all can communicate with each other. If you can communicate, if you can stay in communication with your neighbors, then you'll kind of know what's happening. that's one of the things that I had to do was one of my attorneys lived near where we lived. And so I would have to, we were calling each other, reaching out to each other, texting each other, saying, hey, have you heard anything? Is it safe to go back home yet? And, we were like, yay, nay, oh, coast is clear. Let's go. We can go back home now. So yeah, those neighboring teams, they can help you in multiple ways and also help you with your animals, if you are out in the countries. Um, let's see. This is why being part of a homestead community, a community, even a homesteading community together is very important. There are large animal search and rescue teams across the nation. Find out where one is. Wow, that is amazing. That's amazing. That's so good. That's good to know. Good information. Thank you. Praying for y'all and everyone in the area of Ian. Thank you, Growing with Hudson. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's see. Hey, Juicy with Jay, my Kelly bro. How you doing? I gotta go to Tallahassee and get that package. My daughter let me know that it came. Thank you so much, Juicy with Jay. I appreciate you. Cassandra, South Fulton Garden. Hello, my dear. How you doing? Good to see you in the chat today. Hello, Grace guys. How are you? Let's see. Who else is in here? I think I saw the Fun Reading Club vids in here. Hello, hello. Hello, how are you? Um, let's see. Duval City Carol Gardner. Hey, how you doing, Miss Linda? Yes, I live close to the St. Johns River. It floods very bad here. Wow, wow. Be safe, Miss Linda. Be safe, be safe. Um, and one other thing that happens is that it gets hot. It gets really hot. Um, after these, well, it can get cold too. So it's either going to get really hot and it's going to be muggy and you're sweating for just no reason, or you're going to feel like a really cold air come through. I guess that's if, some of the Arctic air is coming down from Canada, then that's when we typically feel that cold in the air. So Florida people, y'all know we don't have no jackets. Like we have like light jackets, but we don't have coats. And so I saw coats out this year, and I was like, wow, that's telling something. Yeah, coats. They had coats in Florida. We don't even know what that is. We have hoodies. We wear hoodies, Well, when it got cold the other night, the first thing I was like, let me go and get my hoodie. Put my hoodie on, because that's what we have, We have hoodies. So mask, rubber boots, gloves, eye protection as well. That is a good one, Carbon Q. Really, really good one. Really good one. Yes, you got to protect those eyes. You got to protect those feet out here. Oh, that's a really good one. Janice Chisholm, hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? Finally made it alive. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Talking with family in Tampa, she said they just got a warning sound. Oh my gosh. Whew. Okay, okay, okay. Prayers up, Duval City Girl Gardner, for your family down in Tampa. I hope they hunker down really good and are safe through the storm if they decide that they're going to stay. Um, yeah, I've been praying for Florida since this storm has been announced. Thank you. Thank you, Janet Chisholm. That is so good. Janice Chisholm. Hi, Shakira. How are you? Good to see you in the chat. Erica, my fly family. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? Natural Diva. How you doing? Good to see you in the chat today. Gathered Together Homestead. Hello, 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 hello. I saw another new homesteader in here. Gathered Together, and there was one more. Who was that? Eco neighbor, hello. Expecting a lot of rain. Yeah. Rainbow Green Hands, how you doing, my friend? Bell's Backyard Garden, hello. Natural disasters are so frightening to me because there is no way to predict what the earth or Mother Nature will do. There is no way to predict. That's why you have to watch and pray. You're right about that. You're right about that. Absolutely. Fifi's Journey, hello. How are you doing? How are you? Um, Worry less with Jess. How are you doing, sister? Good to see you in the chat today. Um, let's see, Mrs. Queen, first one in the building tonight. Hello, LP. How you doing? One plants, one water, God increases. I live on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, so definitely praying for Florida. Green grass grows. Hello, Charlotte Urban Gardener. Hello, hello, Lisa Williams. Hello, how you doing, my sister? Kick back and grow. I like that. Hello, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you. Um, and let's see, who was that? Who was that? Where to begin, Homestead? I found you today. I found you today. So I'm going to be coming over. I started actually watching one of your live stream. So thank you for the prayers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. So let's go back down and see new comments. Um, hello, hello, hello. Uh, Cheryl Faulkner, how you doing? How you doing today? Veggie Farm Garden, hello, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Andale. Hey, Miss Reaper. How you doing? Hello. Good evening. So, if you all don't have anything else, then I'm going to go ahead and end this live for today. Thank you for coming in with me. Foster Family Fun. I know I saw you. Hello. How you doing? So, thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with me and StarDuster for a little bit. I hope that you can take something from this live stream and really share the information out with somebody else. There is so much that we need to be prepared for, and I'm sure that we didn't cover everything, but we tried to cover as much as we could in the time that we had, and also just you want your families to be able to think outside the box, give them some different ideas, right? Give them some different ideas. Catch y'all later in these YouTube streets. Thank you, G Mama. I appreciate all your hard work, always being here to moderate for me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. As a matter of fact, G Mama Groves, if you can email me, I have a little special thank you gift that I want to send you because you are always here and you're always modding hard for me. I really, really appreciate that, and I appreciate you. So stay safe, everyone. And guys, remember that prayer still works. I'll see you guys the next time. Take care of yourselves. Peace to you all.